Today, we're talking about boundaries because I think if you are thinking of becoming a foster parent or if you're currently parenting a child at all, it will be very helpful to have clear boundaries implemented in your life. So stay tuned for some tips.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm the trauma mama, and if you don't know me, I'm married to Josh, and we have 3 kids who were adopted through foster care. This channel is all about raising kids who have experienced trauma, raising kids with special needs, and some basic simplicity parenting hacks.
To be honest, it's only been within the past year that I have built my skill of implementing and maintaining appropriate boundaries and doing that well. So I know what it's like to struggle with this. So give yourself a little bit of patience if it takes a little while, or if this is something that you are still working to build that skill. But I'm going to tell you ways that boundaries can really help in various situations. First, a common misconception is that boundaries need to be announced, sort of like a fence in your front yard. You see where it is, all your neighbors see where it is. The truth is, a boundary is really only about you knowing what it is and knowing how you'll respond when someone crosses it. The best way for me to be aware of when one of my boundaries has been crossed is the way I feel it in my body. If I focus on that feeling, it makes it much more clear to me what has happened and then what I need to do. So, for example, I have a tough relationship with someone, and when things get negative, I tend to feel tension in my shoulders and in my chest. And so in working to keep that relationship going, my boundary is when I'm talking with this person and I start to feel tension in my chest and shoulders, I will focus on something that they can't control. So for me, what they can't control is how my kids feel about me. And so when I start to feel that tension, I just focus on different things for my kids. So I focus on the cards that Isabel makes me, on Dylan and the way he says, "Mom," when he first sees me at the end of his school day, or on Christopher when I have accurately matched his love language. He gives this like little smirk, like, "Yeah, Mom, you did it." So those feelings, and I focus on that until the tension in my shoulder and chest eases, then I know I will be in a better place to decide my next best step. And it will be more likely that my decision and my next action will be more in line with the person that I want to be. Okay, so now that we have a general idea of what a boundary is, let's go over a few scenarios. So if you are new to foster care, being really clear on what type of placement will work in your home, that is critical. Know what would make the best match for you. Write it out. Be as specific as possible. You can always change your boundary, but the more clear you are, the better it will be down the road. Once when I was in a position where I matched foster children in need of homes with foster families, one of the foster moms had previously lost her home in a fire. So her boundary was very clear. She could not have any child with a history of setting fires or anybody who even threatened to set a fire, because it would be too triggering for her. So that was her boundary. So just know what yours is, know what you're willing to do. It's much easier to have it clear and explicitly stated up front than it is after you've accepted a placement and then you realize, oh, wait, I can't get them to school every day. That makes it a lot harder. So just know what it is for your family. And that will really help when you're making decisions about accepting a placement in your home. Okay, once you have a foster placement, having boundaries is going to help the process feel much more comfortable for you. Once you have a foster placement, having boundaries around family visits, team meetings, communication, are all really important. And again, it's about knowing how you will respond when it's crossed. I guarantee you, whatever state you are in, your boundary will be crossed while you're a foster parent. But knowing how you respond, it helps empower you. It gets rid of some of the stress you feel when you feel like you don't know what to do next. So, for example, you may have a boundary that looks like this. If I send an email and I haven't heard back in 2 days, I'm going to send another email. I'm going to send another email and CC the supervisor. Now, people forget to respond to emails, but CCing a supervisor is really not that big a deal. You're just CCing them so they know in case maybe the worker got pulled onto another case, was out, somebody can respond to you. So that's a good one to have. Another one might be if we have 3 or more team meetings that start more than 5 minutes late, I'm going to email and remind the team of our agreement that meetings will start on time. There are so many things when you are a foster parent. You are responsible for the life of your foster child, but there are so many things that are out of your control. So knowing how you respond to things like team meetings starting late, lack of communication, feeling like decisions are being made and you're not being told. Go into it knowing how you'll respond when you feel that way. If I feel like there's something happening in the case that I'm not being told, I'm going to, and then you decide. You could decide to do self-care and then reflect back and list out what makes you think there are decisions being made. You could decide, I'm just going to call and say, hey, I could be off base, but I feel like maybe there's something going on here that I'm not being told. Is that accurate? Can you help me understand? Have I missed something? And then you're quiet and let them answer. But I think just knowing how you will respond, it's so empowering, and you need to take back a lot of your power because you lose a lot of it when you are providing foster care. As a parent, knowing your boundaries around kids' schedules, play dates, birthday parties, it will make things much smoother. In my family, we value the time that we are all together as a family. So if we have one child who has an activity that might be 2 evenings a week, then for the other kids, we'll make sure that their activities fall on the weekend. Or one kid does spring activities, another one does fall activities, that type of thing. Or we might have them do things, but we'll find somebody that can bring them. For example, my son wanted to do hockey when he was in preschool. We thought that it would be a good thing for him to try because he was really active. But I didn't want to spend every Saturday morning at the ice rink. Now, if you love to do that, that is awesome and no judgment. I love being home Saturday morning. So I didn't want to give up every Saturday morning for January and February. So we used a resource and had a friend who was a senior in high school who my son really looked up to, and he brought him. And we paid him. So, he got to earn a little bit of money. My son got some male bonding time. And we got our laid back Saturdays. So it worked out for everyone. But what was important was I knew my boundary. I knew I wouldn't be able to keep up with every Saturday or even every other if my husband and I switched. It just wouldn't work for us. So knowing your boundary also helps you find resources where you need it. Okay, so I got a question. This question is from an adoptive parent. My best friend and I like to get our kids together on Saturdays. It gives us time to catch up on each other's week. But lately, she spends time talking about all the milestones her child has met, and I get the feeling that she doesn't understand that my child has significant delays, and it's painful to be reminded of how far apart our kids are. I don't want to not hang out with her, but I struggle to find the right words to use. Thank you so much for writing. This is a tough one. When you are raising a child with developmental delays, it can be so hard because we are so focused on skill acquisition in our society. And it's so normal to share all of that. When did your baby sit up? Oh, are they potty trained? It's really never ending. And so it can be tricky when you have a child with developmental delays. I know if it were me, what would be happening in this situation is my mind would start to do some negative self-talk. I would start to say, oh, am I doing enough as a parent? My kid isn't crawling yet. Maybe I haven't given him enough tummy time. Maybe I should call and get physical therapy increased. And I would just keep thinking about that somehow, if this kid is, crawling or walking and my kid isn't, maybe there's something I'm not doing. So my boundary would be when I'm with, we'll call her Sarah, when I'm with Sarah and I start to feel like I'm not enough, or I'm not enough as a parent, or I'm not a good parent, then I'm going to focus on the things that I'm grateful for with my child. So I'll make a list of 3 things that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that I had time to snuggle with my kid this morning. I'm grateful that he's gone a month without having to go to the hospital. I'm grateful that he started eating solid foods, and so now I don't have to make formulas bottles at night. Find 3 things, take a breath, and then pick one to share. And so you might want to say something like this: oh, that's so exciting that your daughter is walking. That is so exciting. I'm really grateful that I had time today to snuggle with Dylan. I'll just call him Dylan because that's when I felt it the most, was during his infant and toddler years. I'm so grateful that Dylan and I had time to snuggle this morning. And then that's it. And you just leave it. Now, you could also visualize all the coordination that you do for your child and start to really feel, because you are doing enough. So later, if you start to see a pattern with this friend, like every time you get together, you have this feeling that you're not doing enough as a parent, consider saying something. Something like, it's actually hard to hear about your child's progress. I hope to get to a place where we can talk and celebrate together. I'm just not there right now. Or I'm just not there yet. All right, try those out. Let me know how it goes. Because I get it. It can be really hard. And I think this happens to parents even whose kids, maybe don't have a developmental delay, but so many parents see themselves through their kids. And even in like elementary school, we picture ourselves in high school, like comparing test scores. And it doesn't need to be that way. Are your kids kind to others? Most of the time. Focus on the things that you are grateful for, and really, truly, like the skill acquisition, it's great to feel proud, and it's a nice thing to share because it's just sort of easy small talk with people. But the most important thing is that your child knows that you're there for them no matter what. And I'm sure if you're watching this, then you are a parent that is there for your child no matter what. So you should feel good about you. And if you don't right now, do a little more self-care. Whatever self-care is to you, watch that video, pick something, and do it until that feeling goes away. That could be your boundary. When I start to feel like I'm not the best parent I can be, I'm going to do self-care until I have that confidence built up. Have a great week. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.